Welcome back to GBC World News. I'm Cindy Garcia, broadcasting from Houston, Texas. Well, this is an unusual story inside a 2-year-old male chimpanzee bottle feeds tiger cubs at a zoo in Thailand. GBC World News brings you all the details.
Samut Prakan Crocodile Farm and Zoo has taught Dodo, the 2.5-year-old male chimpanzee, to bottle feed tiger cubs. The zoo's chimpanzee trainer, Sirinaj Nimnoradi, says they wanted to challenge the young ape, especially as he showed no fear of tigers.
I taught him how to hold the bottle and stay with the cubs. I've been teaching him every day, but sometimes he plays with the cubs too.
Dodo has been feeding tiger cubs every day for more than a year, much to the delight of zoo visitors.
He just fed the cub but also teased it by removing the bottle.
They are cute. They are just young animals. They play together. The zookeepers trained the chimp, and they also instructed the chimp to play with the tigers.
For now, chimp and tigers are bosom buddies. But once the tigers outgrow their gentler companion, they will be moved to a larger enclosure.
Surgeons, you can forget about scrubbing up in a new virtual surgery simulator that uses the latest computer technology to train surgeons for laparoscopic surgery. And as GBC World News reports, this dramatically decreases the need for practice on human patients.
This may look like a video game, but it's actually a new tool that could revolutionize the way doctors train for the operating room. It's called the V-Blast, and it's a virtual surgery simulator developed by Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute's Suvranu Day. The simulator uses touch feedback to help doctors develop the fine motor skills needed for laparoscopic surgery, a common weight loss procedure. Day says the high-tech training tool provides an experience that is as authentic as practicing in the operating room, but eliminates the potential harm to patients.
These are all done by trial and error now, either on inanimate models or animals or directly on the human patients, essentially using patients as guinea pigs. And typically we know that learning curves, which is the number of patients that a person or that a surgeon takes to learn a particular surgery, is of the order of anywhere between 50 to 100. So that many patients are typically at risk when surgical procedures are learned in the operating room.
The virtual surgery simulator uses touch feedback, which realistically replicates the sensations a surgeon would feel when performing the procedure. In its early stages, the device used 2 forceps to pick up blocks that had the same resistance that organs and tissue would have. In its latest form, however, students look at lifelike graphic versions of the esophagus, stomach, and spleen, and highly sophisticated algorithms create sounds and visuals that alert doctors when making mistakes. The RPI team have been collaborating on the simulator with doctors at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston. Dr. Neil Kantak, a first-year surgical resident, has tested both generations of the simulator.
You have real-life feedback when you grasp a block. You can feel the amount of resistance in your hands change. You can understand that you're grasping a block. Your hands can feel it. Your brain can sense it. In the new version, there are no actual blocks, but instead it's a screen with virtual blocks, and the device uses feedback technology to simulate that resistance so that you feel like you're actually performing the activity on a physical object that doesn't actually exist.
Ultimately, researchers say the V-Blast will give patients more confidence in their doctors before going under the knife because they're able to use the simulator to recognize deficiencies and get extra practice. Dr. Stephen Schweitzberg, president of the Society of American Gastrointestinal and Endoscopic Surgeons, says virtual technologies like the V-Blast are revolutionizing training for surgical students.
I believe that we will figure out a way to model the human body in a virtual world, and then we will be able to do, just like the pilots, the first 10 or 20, 25% of your training all virtually, so that you walk into your early operations with a degree of competency that hasn't been seen before in the history of surgery.
With technologies like the V-Blast, practice really can make perfect.
In Japan, robotic seals help elderly tsunami victims recover from mental and emotional scars. GBC World News reports on how these robots are helping these victims to heal.
85-year-old Satsuko Yatsuzaka has a new companion. She lives at Japan's Suisho-en retirement home, just 16 miles from the stricken Fukushima Daiichi plant, in an area ravaged by the March tsunami. Even though her furry friend is a robotic seal, Yatsuzaka says it helps her heal from the recent trauma.
If I hold on to this, it doesn't matter if there's a typhoon outside. I still feel safe.
2 seals named Love and Peace were donated to the home for 2 years by their Japanese manufacturer. The robots, which normally cost around $155 per month to lease, are good substitutes for live animals, says Suisho-en's general manager Takukato Ono.
In this case, we use a doll, albeit a robotic one, as an alternative method to help them recover.
But not having a live animal isn't a problem for most residents, says Ayako Shizo.
It's just as cute as a little living creature, and so everyone is looking at it every day. It does sometimes run out of batteries and stop, but when it's got its eyes open, everyone stands around talking to it, asking it how it's doing and such.
The home doesn't plan on getting any more robotic seals unless residents become especially attached to these 2 fluffy pets.
Chinese Muslims in Beijing celebrate the arrival of the Islamic fasting month of Ramadan on Monday. China's estimated 22 million Muslims make up just about 2% of the country's population, are expected to unite with more than 1 billion Muslims across the world to observe the holiest month on the Islamic calendar. The start of Ramadan varies in different countries depending on the sighting of the new moon. And in China, the fasting month began on Monday. Approximately 300 men and women gathered at a mosque in Beijing to perform the first evening prayer of the month at the end of the first fasting day. As well as fasting, Muslims are expected to strengthen their character through self-restraint, charitable giving, and introspection during the holy month. While China is officially an atheist country, it has a growing population of believers. Half of China's Muslims come from the Hui ethnic group, while the remaining are from different ethnic groups in northwest China. You're watching GBC World News. I'm Cindy Garcia. Coming up, sports, including some English rugby players who are practicing their skills in the kitchen. We tell you more next.